everyone. It's so lovely to connect with you here. I'm Finn Goddard, and I'm the creator of a phenomenal, life-changing and revolutionary healing modality called Core Expansion. So I wanted to hop on today, and I had plans that I would have many of you here, and many of you were joining me live, which I was very, very excited about. Things went in a slightly different direction. We had a major power cut yesterday. And today I've had a lot of issues with technology and speaking to you and sound bouncing back, which is very interesting for me when I'm sharing my insights and some really powerful and healing information with you all. So we are in a time of eclipses. So we are in a really powerful time of eclipse season, which is really quite incredible and really beautiful. So I wanted to share a little bit with you. I have been absent from being public. I have been working behind the scenes, and I wanted to share with you my story, what has been happening to me, and my journey over the last year and a half, where I have been called to unapologetically and irreverently heal lots of buried trauma, buried emotions that I buried deep inside me. And I'm very grateful to be here because back in April last year, I nearly didn't quite make it because I was seriously ill. So I wanted to share with you the gifts and the lessons that I have gained from this time and this experience. And I actually was at a stage of absolute total burnout, which is why I got really sick. And that time where I had to stop has really supported me to reset, reevaluate, and review my life, my business, and how I run my business. So I wanted to go back a little in time. And before I do that, I want to share with you that what I will share with you today and tell you in this video may trigger you. It may bring up deep emotions that you may have buried within yourself subconsciously, unintentionally, and also there will be a lot of really beautiful healing in the words that I speak and share with you today. So the purpose of this video is to really support you and help you to get to that point where you feel that you can move forward, and also to help you to unstick and get those emotions that have been buried deep down inside that haven't been able to come up, to come into your awareness, so that you can work through these emotions and healings. And I have many beautiful healings on my YouTube channel that you can tap into if you need further support and assistance. So going back to back in time, 42 years ago to be precise, I was 6.5 years old, and I was decided to go and see a friend of mine who lived quite far away. And I took my youngest brother, who was 2.5 years old at the time, and we went on an adventure. And when we went to find my friend's house, no one on her area was opening the door. It was absolutely quiet. So we had to cross quite a scary road for a 6.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And we went back across the road, and I decided that we would have a little break, and I brought a picnic with us. I'm someone who's always prepared. I have something just in case. So we sat in this field opposite all the houses that were on one street and off the main road. And there was lots of high grass. It was around this time, it was the summertime, it was a really beautiful day. And there was a screeching of wheels, and this car drove up a track into the field, and I asked my brother to play a game because I sensed something was really wrong. And so I pretended to my brother that we were going to play a game of, you know, being as quiet and as still as we could, so kind of like statues. And we were very, very, very still. And in that long grass, I could see what was going on. And I witnessed, nothing physically happened to my brother and I, but I witnessed something that changed me in a huge way. And I felt so guilty and angry and upset that I couldn't rescue or save this person. So I then decided that I would protect my brother, of course, and if there was any way I could save this beautiful human being, I would, but I couldn't, because if I jumped up, I wouldn't be here to be telling this story, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So anyway, we stayed in that field for, I don't know how long, it could have been hours, and the car left, and everyone in the vehicle, including the person that sadly is no longer here. And I meandered home, and I was a very gregarious, outspoken, wild, adventurous, cheeky, you know, I had a mouth and people heard me. And in that moment, I decided that I would bury what I saw and what I witnessed and take my brother to safety. And I literally hid away. In my bedroom, we had like an under cupboard, which was big enough for me as a child to go in and hide. And I hid in there for 2 days in the dark. And I changed that. I have photographs of me before and after. I was a different child in many ways. And I remember my 7th birthday. I shared this story in a class I taught back in March and April, and I couldn't quite remember the exact birthday, but I remember on my 7th birthday making a wish that there would be peace and no hate in the world, and that people would thrive and live happily. Not the exact words that I thought at that time, but I remember wishing for peace and for people to love one another. So I then decided that I was going to rescue and I was going to save everyone. So that's what I did. So I rescued and I saved everyone I could to heal and deal with the guilt I had for not being able to save that beautiful human being. And I ended up working in conflict zones and post-conflict zones and helping people. And all the time I was helping people, I wasn't helping myself. I was running away from and avoiding that trauma that I had buried so deeply inside me. I couldn't even remember what it was until in 2017 when I embraced my healing modality core expansion. And I was at a festival, and this beautiful lady in the healing zone where I was working at the time, she did a session for me, a reflexology session, and she is an incredibly intuitive lady. And I'm very grateful to her because she said, you have a deep, 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 deep trauma that you have buried so much that you need to let it out. You need to tell someone, you need to talk to someone about this trauma, because it's going to destroy your life. And it's it's making you sabotage yourself. And I was like, hey, what could it be? What could it be? What could it be? And I spent a few days, and we all have a toolkit, and I was still avoiding it. I'm like, do I really want to see, or do I really want to know what that trauma was? So I remembered the trauma. I didn't remember the actual um, the visual element of it, but I remember protecting and keeping my brother safe and keeping him, rescuing and saving my little brother. And I thought, okay, and I didn't actually really deal with it. So I continued on the years. And then a year later, my younger brother, not my youngest brother, he got incredibly ill. And within 3.5 weeks of his diagnosis, he passed away. And I had, at the time, signed up to something for my business, which I thought was going to be really fantastic and really amazing. And because I was so kind of in a state of grief and trauma and, like, oh my God, what am I going to do, without my brother? Excuse me. You will see me in total authenticity today. And anyway, so this business commitment, I ended up throwing myself into work because I had to pay every month for this commitment, which I didn't feel I could get out of because I was just so in a space that I cannot even describe in words today, because I've moved beyond that space, thankfully. So this meant that I worked and 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 I worked, and I just threw myself into my work. And I remember back in 2008, my boss in my previous job said to me, he said, Finn, I notice when you have stuff going on that you throw yourself into work and you just work and you work and you work. So I kind of, my coping mechanism was to just be consumed by my work and make so much work that kept me busy, kept me from thinking about the and dealing with the trauma, and I'll just help and save everyone else. So I went through this phase of feeling absolutely and totally obliged because of the trauma I experienced when I was a child, that I was obliged to save everyone, that I was obliged to rescue everyone. And I put myself on the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, maybe further down the line of prioritizing, So, and what I learned during this time is that prioritizing yourself is really important. However, in March 2020, I got really, 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 really sick with COVID. And in April, I went downhill magnificently. And I'm very grateful to be here. I nearly didn't make it. So I'm a grafter, I'm a doer, I'm a maker, and I'm a shaker, and I'm a creator, and I do all these great things. So like 2 weeks after nearly, not being here, I started back to work. Yay, I'm invincible. I can do this, I can do that. Actually, I wasn't fully recovered and I wasn't fully restored. And I taught 3 classes, and I signed up for something to do with my business I thought would help. And anyway, long story short, the end of July, I was absolutely obliterated. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go for walks. I couldn't do anything. My body just went shut down. Finn, you're not listening. So what does my body do? It says, right, I'm going to make you stop. So during this time, I did a lot of thinking. I could still use my fingers. So I did work and reviewed my business and went behind the scenes. And I realized that I was actually so burnt out by the time March came that I was very vulnerable to getting COVID. However, the beauty of this time is I realized that the cause of my burnout, the cause of my pushing myself to the point of where perhaps it was irreversible, or I was pushing myself to the flat line where, you know, I was gonna pop off, which wasn't my intention at all, but subconsciously, because our consciousness and our subconsciousness are wonderful mechanisms. Our conscious mind can determine 5%, 6%, 10% of our happenings in our reality in our lives, whereas our subconscious kind of is the master, and really brings into our awareness stuff that we really need to review and transform and work through to come back to ourselves. So deep within my subconscious, I had all this guilt, I had all this grief, I had all this pain that transformed into an element of self-hate. And I really caught myself by surprise. I couldn't believe that I was carrying so much self-hate, because I blame myself for this beautiful human being for because I couldn't save them. And I realized that as a child, when my parents' marriage broke down, I blamed myself. And then when my brother passed away in 2018, I blamed myself because I couldn't rescue him, I couldn't save him. However, it wasn't my responsibility. My brother was on his own journey. I'm on my own journey, like you are on your own journey. So I learned during this time, because I did feel incredibly helpless, like I didn't have help, I didn't have support. Running my business single-handedly, it was a huge undertaking. So I learned to ask for help, and I got some amazing help, and I have some incredible help from amazing and beautiful souls. And sometimes we have to stop ourselves and say, actually, you know, I really need help. Can you help me? And people will absolutely, you know, if they're available, they will say yes. Or I know someone who can do, who can support you. And this has been really interesting, because I never asked for help before, because I could do it all. I took responsibility and ownership for all the pain, the suffering, the grief, the guilt, the not so nice stuff that's happening on our planet. And also during this time, I learned that I don't have to be strong all the time. I remember as a child being told, and I'm sure you will have been told, you have to be strong, you have to be strong. You don't have to be strong. I built up all this strength that I was, thought I was holding myself together. In actual fact, I was holding everyone together. Whereas inside and me, I was absolutely falling apart. My whole body was just screaming out, going, stop. It's time to really let go of that dynamic and let go of that programming of, you know, being strong for everyone, and simply be present, simply be who you are, and be wholly and fully authentic. And I also learned to heal the overwhelming grief that we are all experiencing collectively. You know, we are moving through a time where we are grieving the life we had, the freedoms we had, the ability to move so freely and hug our loved ones and hop on a plane or hop on a train or hop in the car and drive to be connected with our loved ones. And I know that this year has had a huge impact on all of us, and we are continuing to move through these incredible times, and it's not over yet. And what I found incredibly helpful is by being fully present in myself, by fully recognizing that, yes, I am grieving. What do I need to do to transform the grief so it doesn't become destructive or doesn't ignite that element of self-hate and helplessness and fear, and also running away and avoiding it because we are human beings, we are incredible, we're really, really amazing. And sometimes we have a tendency to get up and just run away and avoid things. And I have been the greatest at running away. I ran away from so many things when I was younger and even in my 30s, and until getting seriously, seriously ill, where I had to review and reset everything and say, okay, I cannot avoid, I cannot run away from who I am anymore. And at this time, we are all being triggered incredibly. We have stuff coming up, like, for example, yesterday, be so excited about like my first day back live in work and connecting with people and writing and, like, you know, realigning and reconnecting with you gorgeous souls. And the electricity goes off for a lengthy period of time. And I'm like, okay. So I found a solution, and a beautiful friend of mine hosted me at their home yesterday so I could work. And I was several hours behind preparing. And today, again, we have this wonderful, exciting happening where I intended to be live with you all. And then, boom, the funny thing happened. My lives weren't aligning. So I am going to, over the next weeks, I'm going to be sharing with you all some really, really powerful healings and techniques that I have already created as a gift to you. So I'd love you to pop over to my website, which is www.fingoddard.com, and I will, if you sign up, you will receive a wonderful gift from me over the next few weeks. I will be coming on here and doing a lot more lives on YouTube and sharing the perspectives and the insights of what I've gained, what I've received, and that which I will, of course, share with you all, so that you can really come back to yourself, to restore yourself, so you can get out of your own way and really thrive, and also recognize how to overcome and how to deal with the triggers that may be coming up in your life. And I have some wonderful triggering, healing triggers, transforming triggers, because triggers are amazing. Triggers are a wonderful opportunity for you to heal. So triggers come up in your life for a very good reason, and everything happens for a reason. Like today, me doing this video for you all, I'm doing it in my home without an audience, and that's perfect. So everything in its right time and in its right place. And before I go, I would like to share with you the importance of making you a priority, and you prioritizing yourself and your life, and for you to not feel obliged. It's okay for you to say no, for you to stop and look at what are your needs. What do you need for you? What do you need that will make you feel comfortable, happy, safe? What makes you feel that you can love yourself even more? Because all relationships begin with you, and the relationship you have with yourself, it does set the tone and the energy for all the relationships in your life. And I have discovered that until you are open and not avoiding and not running away, until you are open to receive the gifts and the learnings and the teachings that a situation or a pattern in your life is teaching you, it's going to keep coming back to you. And I found that I have, over the last 4-5 years, you know, I have done some incredible healing, and I found that the deeper the healing that I have done, particularly over the last year and a half, it opens you up to being a clearer channel for yourself. So this will really heighten your intuition, and your intuition is your greatest gift, because when you make yourself a priority, you're actually opening up your intuition even more, because your intuition is your gift for you. because your intuition is that which supports you to love yourself more, to feel and know and trust what steps to take. You know, if it feels right, yeah, go for it. And if your intuition is going, yay, let's go, let's do this. If your intuition is telling you no, then listen. So the more you tap into loving yourself and prioritizing yourself, which is essentially self-love, the greater the greater and the more beautiful your life experience is. So thank you for joining me today, and I would love to hear how this video has helped you. And if you have any questions, you can connect with me via my website. All my details and my email address are there, and you can of course comment in this video here. And I would love to you know, close and summarize this insight with you today, that, you know, loving and loving you, and love is the most powerful frequency in the world, and we are very good at giving our love to everyone else and forgetting about the love that we need ourselves. So when you are loving in your day, be consciously aware that you're a priority, and bring that love into you first and foremost. And it's not being selfish, it's not being selfless, it's being self-full. So when you bring that love into you and invite that love into you and generate that love within you, it amplifies the love for you, and it also impacts and ripples out in your environment. And our world today needs greater love, because so many people are, all of us are going through mass transformations, a mass awakening, where our deep, ugly, not so nice stuff is all coming up into our awareness to be transformed. So be very mindful when you are experiencing those triggers, when you are experiencing that emotion or that feeling that may steer you away or pull you away from yourself. Come back and say, right, just take a moment and bring your conscious awareness into loving you. And really, every day, take time to create space to really love yourself, even if it's just sitting in the sunshine, or sitting in your favorite chair, or sitting on the ground, or putting on some beautiful music. Music is an incredible healer. It's a beautiful energy and a frequency, and it will ignite wonderful emotions, and you're actually taking time out for you. And to finalize this conversation today with you all is, I have learned in this time not only to prioritize myself, it's also to take time out so I can live more and work a lot less. So now I am living more and I'm working. And when I return to work, it's of greater joy. And if you're finding that your business or your work and that you're not enjoying it, look at what elements you do love in your business. And I can pop in next Thursday, next week, and share with you how you can love what you do more, and share a little bit more about my story, my experiences that have really helped me, and I know will help you too. So thank you so much for joining me today. Have a gorgeous day from a beautiful sun-filled and sun-drenched Edinburgh town in Scotland. Lots of love, and I will see you all very soon. And remember to pop over to www.fingoddard.com. And if you'd like to subscribe, feel free to do so, and you will have access to all my wonderful videos here, and lots of beautiful, deep, authentic, and powerful healing. Lots of love to you. Love you all.